All right, hi guys. This is Josh, and I'm going to be enacting part of the Hook lesson plan. This part comes from the group activity. It takes place towards the end of class, where I ask students to look at the list of vocabulary that I've marked on the blackboard and make some phrases out of them. Now, I tell them that these phrases don't necessarily have to have anything really to do with World War II, but just use them in a context that makes sense to you, whichever you prefer. The goal of this activity is really to get them to think about what this sort of vocabulary might mean, and there's a good chance that some of it they might in fact be able to recognize if they dig through their minds, and then that'll help them be able to apply said vocabulary to the more specific World War II related context that it evidently comes from for purposes of this lesson. So anyway, here is the vocabulary that appears on the blackboard. Okay, so now I arrange students into their groups of two, three, four at their desks. We arrange the desks a little bit, and I say, okay, think amongst yourselves, guys, about how you might be able to use said vocabulary. I give them some time. Okay, and now I call upon them one at a time. Please raise your hand if you have an idea, and they will share their sentences. So here's one that one of them comes up with. Okay, and I look at that and I say, okay, very good. So, what exactly does it mean for the elves and the men in Lord of the Rings to be allies? Okay, so there's an alliance between them. True. A last alliance of men and elves marched against the armies of Mordor. True. Um. So, what exactly does that mean? Okay, yeah. So it means that they came together, they allied for a specific cause. And in this case, it was the idea that Mordor's armies can't really be defeated on their own, but if we join forces, we have a better shot knocking them out, right? Okay, keep that in mind. So here's another sentence that one of the groups comes up with after I have them raise their hand. That is true. Emperor Palpatine certainly is the dictator in Star Wars. Why? Okay, there's a lot of baddies in Star Wars. You know, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren. Who do they all bow down to? Literally, actually, if you watch The Empire Strikes Back, who do they all bow down to? That's right, Emperor Palpatine. He is the supreme ruler of the galaxy. He rules with unchecked power. He's not held accountable to any sort of government, anything all. It's still his way. That makes him a dictator. Very good. He is the person who dictates the rules, the laws. No one else really has any real say. They're just pawns on his chessboard. Okay, that's a good example of a fictional dictator. In this class, we're going to look into some more real life dictators and see how that same sort of idea of unchecked power existed in that context. Okay. Yes? Thank you. Thank you for raising your hand. What did you come up with? Okay, that's very true. What exactly makes North Korea so isolated? Do they interact with others? Do they have any sort of real contact with the outside world, even with their neighbors to the south, South Korea? No, of course not. North Korea is very famous for being totally isolated. No one who lives there really has ever been outside North Korea except maybe the soccer team, some other people. They're all very controlled in their own kingdom, their own hermit kingdom as it's called. No real sort of contact with anybody else, just everybody lives strictly in there, trapped in basically a nation side prison. So that's what it means to be isolated. It's that you have no interaction, you are separate, you are apart. And in this class, we'll see how some countries in World War II indeed were isolated, practiced isolationism, not necessarily in the same way as North Korea today, but certainly in ways that did affect the outcome of the war. Okay, next question, or rather, next answer. Thank you for raising your hand once again. That's true. So it definitely is true. Some people like the Red Sox, some people like the Yankees. Up here in UMass Boston, you can guess which one is more popular. But some people are neutral. Why might they be neutral? Because they don't necessarily care about the MLB. Is it because maybe they do care about the MLB, but they care more about some other teams? The Yankees Red Sox rivalry doesn't necessarily impact them all that much. Okay, yeah, sure. There are different reasons for fans to be neutral. And there certainly are reasons why countries might be neutral in a conflict. Think about that definition as we make our way through this unit on World War II. And lastly, okay? Ooh, wow, I'm impressed you know that line. It was definitely delivered pretty memorably by Brad Pitt in the movie Troy, right before he deals with Eric Bana's Hector. So, but yeah, it's true. There are no pacts between lions and men. Lions and men face off. There's no sort of arrangement that, please don't decapitate me too severely or anything. No, it's just very mano a mano, very much a fight to the death. There's no sort of arrangement, uh, you know, terms that they come with in a duel. They just go at it. So that's what a pact is. There's definitely no pact between lions and men. There definitely was no pact between Hitler and Achilles in Greek mythology. They just fought to the death. And let's remember that and think about how pact might be an important term in World War II in terms of arrangements, accords being made between two sides, two countries. There's more than one example. Okay, that's how my hook lesson plan would go. And yep, hopefully the students get a lot out of it and get to enact some of the linguistic development that is so key to history class and learning in general. Bye, guys.